I think my new landlord is schizophrenic and I'm running out of money. For background, I, 29F, have been really struggling with depression and grief for the last year and a half since my mom passed away. I ended up quitting my job about 2 months after she passed because my mood swings were unpredictable and I had received a large sum of money from the sale of my late grandparents' house. I moved in with my brother and his fiancée for 3 months, and it was incredibly toxic. I ended up going into an inpatient mental hospital and they threw me out and changed the locks. I stayed in an Airbnb for 2 weeks until I found someone who was willing to rent to me while I technically had no income. I'll call her Susan. Susan called me very excitedly after I responded to her listing on Craigslist. It was a half-duplex, 3-bedroom with a front porch and yard for a very reasonable price, so I was excited too. I drove an hour to meet her and tour the apartment, and I loved it. It just needed a good cleaning. I ended up signing the lease the next day and she chatted with me for over an hour. She's 67, has leukemia and her husband passed away a few years ago. She has a son that lives a few states away and doesn't talk to her very often. She seemed to switch topics rapidly, but I just figured she was older and lonely and was excited to be talking to someone new, so I didn't think anything of it. Cut to a few days later, I moved in the day before and I hired cleaners. She had been trying to clean the place herself, but her idea of clean and my idea of clean are very different. Plus she shouldn't be doing that kind of physical labor. I had told her about it already and she seemed grateful and promised to reimburse me. The cleaners arrived and she starts screaming at them. I told you to never set foot on my property again. You have 10 seconds to leave. I came out on the porch and tried to calm her down. I said, Susan, these are the company I hired to come clean, and she turned on me. I told you what she did to me and you hired her. Am I going to have to evict you next? I spent the last week cleaning and you hire cleaners. It's a slap in the face. Just bonkers. The owner of the cleaning company came to try and reason with her, and eventually she let it go. They cleaned very rushed because they were clearly uncomfortable, and Susan was pleasant with me the next day. A couple days later, I wake up to a flashlight in my window. Susan is outside with 2 cop cars. By the time I put on pants and came downstairs, they were knocking on my door. The cops asked to come in and speak privately and they said that Susan believes I was in her bedroom. I obviously wasn't, and they basically said, well, lock your doors and if anything happens call us, gave me the incident report number and left. The very next morning I wake up to her pounding on my door, screaming at me. I opened it and recorded a full 5 minutes of her screaming at me about conversations that never happened, things like me demanding food and demanding a repairman. She taped an eviction notice written on a doily on my door, and tried to wrestle my phone out of my hands. I called the cops on her. They came and told me to change the locks. She can't evict me without going to the courts, and told us to keep our distance. Since she has a key to my apartment, I put a heavy air conditioner in front of the door that night and when I woke up it had been pushed in about a foot, so now I have a chair wedged under the knob. TLDR, I just moved into an apartment 6 days ago and my landlord is completely senile. Cops have been called twice. I have no income but I have about $7,000 saved up in good credit, but most property managers require proof of income. How do I find a safe and clean apartment to move into ASAP with my limitations? Also, how do I keep myself safe from a neighbor that hallucinates me breaking the law and being mean to her? Breaking my lease after 8 days due to paranoid schizophrenic landlord. Second post in Art Legal Advice. My main questions. Can I get my money back? Can she take legal action against me? I moved in on July 10th. I signed her 2-page lease for 1 year and gave her $3,300 at signing first, last, security for $1,000 each plus $300 for trash for the year. In just the last 8 days, she has accused a cleaner I'd hired of being someone who broke into the apartment and stole an air conditioner. This woman had never been to this property. Accused me of being in her bedroom, calling the cops at 3 a.m. They spoke to me, told me to keep my doors locked and call them if any issues arise. Let herself in at night while I was sleeping, and I'm 100% sure she stole my keys, but I can't prove it. $600 to change the locks and get a new key fob for my Subaru. Called the cops but she wouldn't answer the door, so they said there was nothing more they could do. Just call a locksmith and try to bill her. Multiple nights she's pounded on our shared bedroom wall between 2 and 4 a.m., lasting up to 30 minutes. Screamed at me for conversations that never happened. She seems to think I've demanded she give me food and yelled at her about repairing the attic stairs. Neither of these happened. Physically assaulted me by trying to wrestle my phone out of my hands inside my apartment. Called the cops on this one too. They're issuing her a citation, however. She's been stealing my mail. I finally set up a camera and I'm going to catch her tomorrow. I'm tired of wedging a chair under my doorknob at night. I'm tired of being woken up in the middle of the night. I'm tired of being scared to leave my cats home alone. I'm tired of this costing me so much money, moving twice, changing the locks, buying a camera, paying to start a second lease at a new place. I'm broke and I'm pissed. I can move into a new apartment as early as Monday, but I'm unsure how to proceed. Can I write a letter to her asking to give me my money back, or else? Being legal action. Or should I go straight to getting a lawyer? Please help. I've been out of my mind anxious this entire week. Suspected landlord of stealing my mail, so I set up a camera. Third post, later that day, 8 art renters. Oop posts video and summary text. Unfortunately I didn't get any today. She didn't even check her own mailbox. Man. I can't sign up for USPS informed delivery because I am pretty sure she stole the change of address confirmation letter with the code I needed. Video transcript. Camera angle shows a covered front deck, showing view of 2 entryways that are side by side. A bicycle leans on the railing. Neighboring houses can be seen in the background. A barefooted woman with hair in a bun on top of her head exits one door, wearing what is clearly a tank top, shorts, pajama set in white with butterflies on them. She goes directly to the mailbox by the other door, lifts the lid, looks inside, and then returns into the door she exited from. The clip is short, only 5 seconds long. Update. I have proof my landlord stole and hid my keys. What now? Submitted July 20th to Art Legal Advice. Today, Susan asked me to have a chat with her on the porch. I started recording. First, she apologized for her behavior, saying she was without her heart medicine for 8 days and that's why she was acting crazy. But then she went right back into being rude. She told me changing the locks was illegal. A cop literally told me to. I said, well now you'll have nice new locks and I'll give you the keys when I leave. She said she doesn't trust me, and she needs the original key back. So I said, I can't, my keys went missing. And then she admitted to taking them and throwing them on the porch by the fish tank. The fish tank was gone before my keys went missing. Later she showed me that they were in a bush in front of the porch the whole time, and I recorded this too. But here's the problem, I asked her when she took them and she thinks she took them out of my hands. This never happened. She also thinks she took them because she was mad I changed the locks, which obviously wasn't the case. I changed the locks because my keys were missing. What can I do here legally? I have video of her admitting to taking them and hiding them and also video of her digging them out of the bush. But she's insane and doesn't have good memory. It's her word against mine about when she stole them. I'm 100% sure she came in at night and took them. She claims she took them out of my hands. Relevant comment thread made July 19th on OOP's video in Art Renters notes they get keys to a new place Monday. I am getting the keys to my new place on Monday and I am GTFO. July 29th OOP confirms they are out and safe. Yes. I am out and safe, thanks for asking smiley face.